Hello, this is Emile Giroux, M2 Fitness Pros, and today I'd like to talk to you about something different. Quite often people display a certain sense of dissatisfaction. They're searching for something and they don't quite really understand what it is. What's your best anti-aging, money-making, increased pleasure, save time, stress management tool? A lot of times people don't quite know how to figure out what it is they're feeling. They look in the mirror, they don't like their body, they go to work, they don't like their job, they come home, don't really enjoy their home life, they don't really have a social life, been out of school, they don't really have anything in place that's helping them. And one of the things that I encourage is to develop some goals. Start out with some goals for yourself. Now I know they don't teach this in school. It's not something, they just give you a particular pattern of classes to follow, dates and deadlines for a course or a test to happen. For a lot of adults, they forget this and they go out into the world and they start their career and just get stressed out and pretty much only know how to operate based on when the mortgage is due, when this credit card bill is due, when so and so is due, but they just lose sight of a lot of other things in life and they can't quite put their finger on why they feel like there's nothing more for them to do. Part of the process is really constructively looking at your life and identifying areas that you can improve. And a lot of times fitness and getting in better shape is the start of the process because it really uncovers a lot of what causes challenge for people. And I've seen this for several decades now. And I think that in my mind, obviously my perspective is tainted because I've been doing this so long, but a little bit of my life was just like everybody else. I was just going nowhere, not knowing what to do, and I got involved in fitness and it pretty much took off and worked itself out from there. I honestly believe that it is something, and when people tell me personally that they don't think I'm the age that I am, and you are in control of your life because you run your own business and you've managed to feel comfortable with all that you've done and accomplished and you manage things well, your life doesn't have as much stress as everybody else. So one of the things that I teach people is to get them involved in a process of setting up goals. Now for a lot of people, setting up goals, they've really never been taught how to do that. So a lot of folks will go one way. I utilize a couple of different processes here, but this one's called a backward planning process. You basically start with the end in mind and then you backtrack it from there. Now the key to this is having someone qualified enough to really tell you how long it's approximately going to take for you to achieve that goal. There are some unrealistic expectations. For example, a guy that's 4 foot tall saying I'm going to play in the NBA next year without ever playing basketball, and obviously not certainly being the prerequisite height. So you want to realistically pick some goals. But for this example, a lot of times, for example, when they come into our studio, women want to get in shape or they've been working out and they want to decide to get in the best shape possible. So I suggest for everybody, because it really lights a candle up under your butt to make you work a lot harder, to pick out a goal that's roughly, and it's a short range goal and not a weekly or monthly, but something in the range of 1 to 3 years. I consider that a short range goal. It could be a competition. So for example, we've had several girls come through at M2 Fitness Pros and we'll prep them on board as a regular member. They'll come aboard and start out possibly in our boot camp class and then move into semi-private, and then one day they see the Team Fox girls and they make the decision to compete. Now for an individual that comes into that scenario and they see these girls and the kind of shape that they're in, they assume based on what they've read in the magazines out there that it's going to happen overnight, and it doesn't. It doesn't happen like that. You've got to really do your homework. So we start out with a goal. So let's just say right now you were to come into our program and you wanted to get ready for a show, but you've never competed. Obviously you're going to have to go out and do some type of competition before the main event. So in this case, this individual is selecting a goal. By January of 2013, they're going to start their preparation for a July show, which is typically the USA in Las Vegas. Now if they're about 2 years out from that goal and they haven't worked out, but they are within striking distance, meaning they probably have been working out, but not in a really organized fashion. They've been going to spin class and doing body pump, and their boyfriend showed them a couple of things, or they have been reading Oxygen and Shape magazine, and they kind of get an idea, and they look relatively good compared to the girls that they run around with. They come in and visit with us, and we determine that, yes, you do have the potential. Now, lots of times there's people that have potential, but once they start the process, it doesn't necessarily work out because life begins to take hold. So we've got to set this goal up, but we've got to take it in little chunks along the way. So if this individual decides they want to do a show 2 years from the date that they see us, we firstly would find out where they are body composition wise, check their measurements, check out how much lean mass they have, muscle, check for any imbalances in their body to make sure that their physique looks good. Do they have the correct type of shape for whatever they're looking to compete in? Now in this case it's a bikini, so they're going to need to have a certain type of shape genetically to make that happen. Now if we back it off and we begin our process prepping for any of the qualification events, which will happen all through the year in 2013, we might catch a qualifying show in the front end of the year, which could be February, March, any NPC shows John Lindsay does here if you're in SoCal, and you can qualify. So before that, somewhere in October, you'd start your diet to get really, really clean and really, really lean so that you can hit your first qualifying show, and then to give yourself time to requalify in the event that you don't make it. We always want to think positively that you're going to make it that first time out, but sometimes that doesn't happen. It may take 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I have seen people come in and do it the first time around. So you look at that date, January, as your starting point for a July show, but you come back into 2012 in October to start your process for qualification in the next year coming up. The next step is to back it up through the year before. We look at March now. We may decide to either attend the show or actually go into a show. Now, me personally, if you've been working out and you look relatively good, I'd like to just throw you in the deep end of the pool and put you in a show. Typically, the max muscle is on the front end of the year. This gives you an opportunity to kind of see how you fare against the other women. Some have been competing for a while. Some are what I refer to as drive-by competitors. Somebody just talked them into doing a show. They put on a bikini and stepped up there and they did okay. Others, you can definitely tell they need a little bit of work. But this really helps you to experience the experience of getting ready for a show, the pressure of balancing your work and school and social calendar, and learning how to put on your tan correctly and get the look that you need for your physique, and all the presentation. Now B Fox and Team Fox, they do a lot of presentation work, so they really help you learn how to polish your package, meaning getting the look that you need from skin tone to right suit for your body, the hair, the nails, the look that you need that's really going to be a showstopper. There's a particular look that B helps the girls get, and it's a signature mark that she's brought to the stage herself. So this process could be taught during that next year or the year prior to your show so that you can really look good. Now, if we move back even further, here we are in this current year in November, for example. You've been fit, you want to now take it up a notch, and now you've come to M2 Fitness Pros. You're going to start in the month of November 2011 with your eye on the 2013 USA. Can it happen sooner? Sure it can, but I'd like to realistically have you get a nice long runway. And I consider that a decent runway so that any adjustments in your life can happen. There's a lot of mental and emotional stuff that's going to happen for you. And ladies, I will tell you now, talk to any guy in your life, find out if he has what it takes to help you with this process. Because if he's the kind of guy who's not going to be supportive and help you with your process, either you're not going to make it or he's not going to make it, or the two of you aren't going to make it. It's a tough thing to do, and if he's not supportive and he's not encouraging and a little insecure, he might have some challenges. And I'm keeping it real on this this video for you so that you understand. But if you can get through that process and you are solid and he's solid and he can handle the fact that you're going to be looking very, very different, then definitely you can make the world open up for you. I've seen it happen with several hundred girls that have come through our doors at M2 Fitness Pros. I really like what happens for women and the guys, obviously, as they strip away the fat and develop a body that they've never ever seen themselves with. It is an amazing process. So for those of you that are listening to this and you've never competed, you may attempt to do this, because this will really help you find out what you're made of. When you look at and read the backward plan, it doesn't look that different from any traditional forward moving plan. However, creating this backward plan is very different, and you need to force yourself to think from a completely new perspective to help you see things that you might have missed if you use a traditional forward-looking chronological process. This can also help you avoid spending time on unnecessary or unproductive activities along the way. Furthermore, it's going to highlight points of tension within the plan, showing where you'll need to be particularly creative to make the next step successfully. And notice how it says particularly creative. And this is what I was referring to, because again, it's amazing how when prepping for a show, everything in your life all of a sudden gets really busy, and everybody needs and wants your attention. So you really start to develop parts of yourself that allow you to say no and say yes when it's appropriate, but you really start to become labeled as selfish. But this is a really big goal, and for anybody that's not experienced this, once you do go through some process like this, and I know there's 1,000 women at least listening to this right now that want to be that girl on the cover of Shape, or want to be that girl on Oxygen, or want to be that woman that everybody sees at the pool or walking down the street in just some casual outfit but just looks ridiculously hot. And every woman wants to have that, and I know for a fact that women really want to see this happen in the guy in your life, or if you have an alternative lifestyle, your girlfriend want you to look hot. So I think pursuing this goal for you is going to be a monumental life change, and when you do this physically for yourself, your entire life will unfold in a very positive way. Also understand that it's not necessarily an age specific thing. A woman can attempt to compete at any age or shows that range for the beginning stages in the NPC. Can be starting somewhere between 18 and 22 on the front end, and I've seen women still competitive in their 50s and 60s. Obviously, at certain points in your life, it's not all about trying to compete with everybody else out there, but it's mainly you competing with yourself. Doing something that's been on your particular bucket list, if you will, that you've always wanted to do, just to see if you can do it. It's one thing to get in shape on your own. It's another thing to be the most in shape girl at your gym or amongst the girlfriends that you run around with. And then it's another thing to go up that ladder of success and compete against other girls that are from across the nation or from around the world, so that you can become the best of the best. And I think we all on some level want to be really truly good at something, and I think that when you do compete, you will learn more about yourself than you could ever learn in a book, anywhere, in any university. There is a magical thing that happens for a person when they do this. Please, if you have questions, contact us here at M2 Fitness Pros in Long Beach on Pine. You can find us on the web, 562-435-4639. We're getting ready for the Flex Bikini here in 2012. We have some girls prepping for that now. We have girls prepping all of the time. Please, if you are sitting on the fence, jump on this side of the fence. Those of you that are a little intimidated, that's fine. You can start out with the boot camp, then maybe do some semi-private. Then after you've taken off a layer or added a little bit of muscle and shape to your body, you might see, and we can fine-tune some of the things that you might not be clear on. Who knows? You could be the next winner. You never know. Hey, my name's Emil Giroux. Together with B Fox, we run M2 Fitness Pros in Long Beach, California, and we love to train, and we love people that train. So talk to you soon.